Hey everybody, welcome to Rubber Toe Rundowns, and I'm your host, Roberto. In my rundowns, I share with you details about accessories or techniques that go into the Pacific Rim Speedway diecast track. This episode of Rubber Toe Rundowns is sponsored by Slanman Customs. Be sure to click the link and check out all of his 3D printed accessories for diecast tracks. Hey everybody, welcome back. This week's car build is actually because of a race hosted at Redline Derby Racing called City Connection. And what's really cool about this, head on over to redlinederby.com, you can find it under the racing section, is only one casting is allowed, the 85 Honda City Turbo 2. And this is really cool, it's a very tiny car, max of 57 grams, but gotta be modded, and the host has to receive it before April 15th. So I decided, since I have 4 of these little City Turbo 2s, that, you know what, I'm gonna send one in, because I've never modded anything so tiny. Look how small this car is. Very, very small. I think this is like half the size of a normal Matchbox car, and stock it weighs in at 31 grams, and as you recall, the max is 57 grams. That's how much I have to deal with. And another rule is it must stick with these small wheels. So I didn't like the stock wheels, but these Manga tuner wheels, I really want to put these on one of these Turbo 2s. So let us drill this thing open. I start off with a 5/64 drill bit that I actually got as part of a kit from Bright Vision, link in the description below. And I drill a pilot hole, and I drill it pretty deep into the post. This is for 2 reasons. One, it helps the larger bit pop off the rivet so much easier, but then I don't have to go back and drill it again after I pop the rivet. So watch how simple, because I drilled such a deep pilot hole, how quickly this rivet is going to pop off with the 9/64 inch bit. Look at that. Just popped right off. Very, very simple. I didn't have to drill very far to get that one off. That was the front one. Now let's flip it around and drill in the back one. Oh, here you can see I'm not blocking the camera with my fingers this time. And pop. It came right off nice and easy. All because I drilled a deeper pilot hole. So here we go. We've got all the bits separated. Here's the body. They're so tiny. Oh my goodness. And there's the chassis. Not a lot of room to work with. And the interior. So let's get to it. So I'm about to tap these posts, and I like to use some cutting oil that I just drop a little dollop, 1 drop into each of the posts, and then I use the 256 tap. And this kit came with, from Bright Vision, came with the 256 tap and T-handle, the small 5/64 bit, and the large 9/64 bit. And some people don't like to tap. I like to tap. It came with a kit. I'm gonna use it. So there are many pros and cons to tapping. Some people just don't do it because it's just an extra step, because they'll say the die-cast metal is soft enough to just drive the screw into the post by itself, which it is. But again, I don't like to put a lot of pressure onto the screw when I go to drive it in. So yeah, it's just my preference. No big deal. Next up, we're going to strip the body. And I use Citrus Strip, which got from Lowe's. And this was actually shown to me by a good friend of mine who goes by Idiot Luggage on the diecast forums and boards. And he was the one that actually taught me how to prep, how to drill and strip diecast cars. So Idiot Luggage, this one is for you. So I put about a tablespoon of the Citrus Strip in Tupperware, which that's just like a lunch meat Tupperware. And I'm just going to take this little round bristle brush and just brush it on all goopy like glue, and get it all on the inside because I want the inside stripped as well as the outside. And technically you should be wearing gloves or something, but yeah, I don't care. But you should wear gloves if you're watching this. So I'm just gonna make sure I spread it all over the place, inside, outside, and so this thing can start stripping it. And it doesn't really take very long. Some cars will strip as fast as an hour, but those cars like the Marvel cars, those IP cars like Rick and Morty and stuff like that, this doesn't work very well. It takes forever. Like, I think we tested like one of those station wagons or vans, a Marvel one or a Punisher one, and after 2 days it wasn't doing anything. So yeah, those IP cars don't strip very well. So here I'm just gonna leave the brush in there, close it up, and come back to it later. Alrighty, next up we're gonna start working with weights. So I like to use these 1/4 ounce tire weights, which you can get on Amazon. I have the 1/4 ounce and the 1/2 ounce, but this car is so small, I'm going to stick with the 1/4 ounce. Each one is just under 7 grams, so I definitely know I want to at least use 3 of them, which I think I can only fit 3 into this tiny body. So yeah, just cut the adhesive portion and trim it back a little bit, and because I'm going to stick it in there. Yup. So let's see what kind of room we have to work with. Actually, quite a bit of room. As you can see, the 1/4 ounce fits pretty decent right in there. Little wiggle room, because I like to put them dead center. Because I mostly mod for road courses. This is actually going to be my first drag strip, which there's a lot of theories about where to place the weight and stuff like that, but I'm just going to keep with my normal build. And here you see the interior. So I like to keep the front and the back, the portions that actually help hold the axles down, and I like to cut out the middle from about here to here, and that's where I'm actually going to put the weights. It's basically where the front seat and the dashboard take up space. So let's see if we can cut that out, shall we? So I use a pair of sprue cutters, which are designed to cut plastic. You could use a Dremel tool, a rotary tool with a cutting disc. My preference, I just don't like doing that because the rotary tool can just go way too fast and it'll start melting and cut things that I don't want to be cut. So I just like to take my time and use the sprue cutters. And sprue cutters, you can get them for like $5-6 at Amazon, Hobby Lobby, Hobbytown, Harbor Freight. They're really, really inexpensive. So if I break a pair of the snips, I'm not too worried about it. So here I'm trying to cut off the back portion, but let's do movie magic. Let's fast forward this. Hey, look! I cut it out already. So yes, that's the section I want to cut out. And let's look at it a little bit closer. Remove the windshield here. And as you can see, the 3 weights fit perfectly in the spot that I cut out. And there's the front and back that I like to keep because they help hold the axles down. So there it is. All right, now let's get to the wheels. As you remember, I don't want these wheels. This is actually going to be my very first wheel swap. I haven't wheel swapped before. I've watched my buddies do it, Hall and Son and Idiot Luggage. So this is going to be my first one. I'm excited. All right, so we got to get these wheels out of the manga tuner. So again, taking the 5/64 inch bit, drilling my pilot hole. Do we have to watch this again? Can we fast forward? Yes? No? No? We're still going to do it. Oh, okay. All right. So there is the pilot hole for the front axle. Can we go to the 9/64? No? Gonna keep drilling the pilot hole. Oh, okay. Well, there are timestamps in the description if you would like to jump ahead between the different steps. So yeah, feel free to scroll down to the description and click ahead, or just, you know, scrub ahead using the little slider bar. That works too. You won't hurt my feelings. It's all good. I understand. I do it too. Alright, there we go. Got the pilot holes drilled out. Let's put that 9/64 inch bit to work. Now, this one didn't pop as much as I would like. So now I got to get my dental pick and try to pry off that little bit without actually, yes, let's point the pick toward myself and risk stabbing my fingers with a dental pick. Can we turn the pick the other way, please? Other way, so I don't get stabbed. All right, there we go. We got the first one rivet out in the first half, and now we go for the second one. And again, it doesn't want to pop out as easy as the little City Turbo 2. So let's try drilling it some more, because I really don't want to take the pick back to it again. And I guess I'm gonna have to take the pick. And let's, yes, point the pick toward my thumb. Watch it go right under my thumbnail. Ooh, that was close. Yeah, let's go the other direction. You know what? Movie magic. Let's take this off screen and pry it apart. There we go. All right, here's the chassis for the City Turbo 2. Turbo City 2? Honda City Turbo 2, yeah. And there's the chassis for the Manga Tuner, which I was actually surprised. It actually has 2 brackets, one on each side. Normally there's just one bracket holding down the axle. So I'm just going to take my little sprue cutters and snip one side to get these teeth off, so the axles just come right off. So working on the front one. My eyes aren't as good as they usually are. Maybe I should get like one of those magnifying glasses. That would probably help. One of those lit up, self-lit ones. That would be cool. So, all right, here comes Axle 1 and Axle 2. All right, I'm excited. So now we got to pop these ones out. Now, I didn't really worry about mangling the brackets on the Manga because I'm not going to use it again. But I don't want to pop all the teeth. There's actually 3 teeth holding each of these axles, and there's 2 on one side and 1 on the other, so they kind of interlace, like, you know, when you interlock your fingers. So I only want to pop the single one because I don't want to damage the other 2 and then not have anything help hold down the axles. And when I was actually filming this, I was actually being very, very gentle. And then now, as I go back through it and watch it now, I don't know why I just didn't use more force to pry them off. I was really worried about bending the axles. But here we go. More movie magic, fast forward. And here it is. So, I like these wheels. Like them a lot. So now, I am going to try something new as well. Haven't glued axles down yet before, and there's a lot of theories about gluing axles or not. But this Axle Jig from Redline Derby Racing, from their Etsy store, is going to help me keep them aligned and do that. And I'd just like to say Redline Derby did not pay for this plug or give me anything free or a discount. I paid full price for everything. I'm just showing you that this is what I use. So, I like to use super glue gel, and this is a brand new bottle and it's not coming out. Why isn't it coming out? Shaking it. All right. Now it's starting to come out. Come on. There it goes. Get it out there. You can do it. And yes, you can do it. So I'm just going to put a little drop right where those 2 teeth are, where the axle. I prefer the gel because sometimes the liquid super glue can just get into all the cracks and just set way too fast. So this is important. Once you put the glue on the axles, you actually turn the chassis upside down. So the bottom side is facing up. That way, because if you do it the other way, the wheels and the axles could push up and out of the teeth or the grooves that are holding them. So this way the weight of the chassis is face down and it'll hold it in place. So right now I'm trying to get the gap to where the axle is centered perfectly with the chassis. So there's the gap on either side between the wheels, and the left side wheel and the right side wheel are exactly the same. And they're really slippery on this axle jig, so I keep having to reset it. So I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to touch it now. It's good to go. So while the body's stripping and everything, let's see what a stock Turbo 2 does on my track at the Pacific Rim Speedway. Wow, it doesn't seem to be going very fast. But it's not spinning around. It's going pretty true. Now again, this is a road course. It's not the drag track. 10.8 seconds. So not too bad. Average for my track for 10 to 11 seconds is actually average time. So here, it's been a couple hours. So it looks like the citrus strip has done its job. Just going to kind of start brushing off as much as the excess back into the bowl as much as possible, both outside and inside. But once I get the majority of the excess off, I actually pick it up with a little clamp and then rinse it off in hot water with a toothbrush. And this is what it looks like after. Pretty good. It's got a little bit left on there of the blue, as you can see. So then I'm just going to take some steel wool. Again, another tip from my buddy Idiot Luggage. And just going to buff this out, smooth off any imperfections that I find. Plus, this kind of gets in there and gets some of the paint out of those little cracks. And don't do what I did the first time I did this. The first time I buffed it with steel wool, I immediately went and primed it, not realizing that there was still metal shavings left from the steel wool that I really couldn't see that were still on the body. That paint, after I put it on there, I'm like, why are all these little bumps on the paint? And then I figured out. So I'm going to go rinse this off and get all that stuff off before I paint it. And the glue is set. This I actually let it sit overnight in a nice room temperature room, but glue is set and the wheels are spinning very nice. They are holding in place. I'm super excited about that. All right. So I have primed the body. I'm going to do white just because it's easier to see on the track, easier to stand out, because nobody likes it when, oh my gosh, look at that. There's 4 black cars on the track. Which one's mine? So it's easier for me to spot when I'm watching on the YouTubes. So here it is. Painted it white and applied all the water slides. Look at that. Did some accents on the lighting and some Jack in the Box decals and the number I put on the back. More accent lighting on the lights. And obviously the Monster Motorsports, which I got the Monster Motorsports water slides from Mr. Poffler from Rust Belt Racing. So, yes, super excited. All right, so now I want to finish up the chassis. It's a little blurry. Can we sharpen that image up? Is the autofocus on? Can we manually focus something? Well, hopefully we can get that focus in better. Come on, there we go. There we go. There's a better focus. So on the bottom of the chassis, there's this exhaust pipe that is actually like 1.5 millimeters protruding off the bottom of the chassis. So I just take the sprue cutters and just trim that right off. Because, I mean, these wheels are tiny. Normally I like to use 12 millimeter wheels, plastic wheels, but these are super, super tiny. So here's the original. You can actually see that tailpipe, and I don't want it to drag. Even though it's an orange track drag strip, I'm like, hey, I might enter this in another race, like one of my own races. So, all right, let's reassemble. We've got all the weights, all the sticky back peeled off, stacked on each other. So we're going to reassemble it here, and then I use 2-56 by 1/8 inch hex button screws, and they just go in, because I tapped it, they go in nice and easy. I don't have to worry about forcing it. or stripping anything because they're already pre-tapped. So I guess, you know, for me, I like the added assurance of tapping. All right, there it is. Look at that, nice clean bottom. Wow, that's kind of washed out. Can we dim the lights? Can we get some glamour shots so we can see it better under better lighting? Because that's super bright. It's kind of hard to see the details. All right, 49 grams. So we went from 31 to 49. So we gained 18 grams. Not too bad. All right, time to dry lube us some wheels. I like to use Hob E Lube. Pretty much fine anywhere. It's the typical Pinewood Derby graphite lube. And I like to do 1, 2, or 3 applications on the axle, and then I tap it with this acid brush because I want to get as much as the graphite to drop in between the axle and the tire. And I'm not skimpy with the graphite at all. I mean, I'll put big old globs on there. I don't care. But normally with bigger wheels, it's a lot easier to get the graphite to drop between the axle and the wheel, and these ones aren't so much. Then I'm going to sit here and just grind it in. I'm actually putting pretty decent pressure on there and just working it really hard back and forth, rotating the tire ever so slightly every once in a while because I want that graphite to really fill in the imperfections of the axle. So yeah, I'm going to do it a third time. Tappy tappy, tappa tap, tap tap, tappy tap. And get that graphite to fall in there. And after I use the Hobby Lube, I'll actually shoot it with that maximum velocity dry lube that's got a fine tip applicator on the axle that's actually in between the inside wheel and the chassis. So I make sure I get some graphic on that side too. Oh, hey, here are the glamour shots. Look at that. Number 8. I call this Monster in a Box. Look at that. You can see my dry brushing with adding the wear on the corners and the edges. And I did clear coat this afterwards, so let's see how it does on the track. And there goes Monster in a Box around the tower, around the sewer vent, through Kickapoo Pass and around the helipad. And she's going really straight. Let's see what her time was. 10.3, half a second faster. I'm happy with that. Thanks for checking out this episode of Rubber Toe Rundowns. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more Diecast racing. You can also join the Monster Motorsports Diecast Racing Facebook group. Until the next update, stay safe and keep your wheels on the road.